Welcome back to Life at the Park. This is a podcast where shared stories deepen our love for God and for one another. Today's guest is someone who's a ton of fun to be around. Perhaps you've gotten to hang out with him in a Sunday school class or in the fellowship hall or on a softball or soccer team at Hampton Park. It's Jeff Cruz. Jeff's now been a member here for about 10 years. Something interesting about Jeff is that he was present from the start to the sale of a couple of major tech platforms, Quote.com and Exercise.com. Jeff now currently leads growth and strategy of a major women's fitness app. But more importantly, Jeff's a good dad and a good husband. Jeff's a fellow soccer enthusiast, and something that's really fun to point out to our Hampton Park family is that his collegiate soccer coach was actually James Whitaker, who has deep roots here at Hampton Park. What I'm really excited about you getting to hear from our conversation is Jeff's view of the long game. Whether it's business or on the field or at home, Jeff's story keeps coming back to one principle, and it's to keep planting. Plant the seed, commit to the process, and trust that the harvest will come. We talk about a moment in his college years that actually changed everything for him, especially in regards to the direction of his life. And we also hear Jeff share 3 of his P's for life. It's being present, patient, and positive. And we close with something simple, but that's convicting. And it's the discipline of giving our full attention to the people God has placed directly in front of us. Jeff is all about prioritizing people. I think you're going to really enjoy getting to know him better. Here's Jeff's story.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I was digging through some old Hampton Park soccer archives from our soccer league.
Oh, boy, snap. What happened there?
Yeah, so I thought this would be a fun fact just to break some ice here at the start. In 2018, your team went on a run that I think would have made a great Hollywood script. You won the quarterfinal round after being the 7th seed, I think, or maybe even the bottom seed. Maybe it was only 6 teams that year, but you were the bottom seed. You came in and won the quarterfinal round in a 7-round shootout. I don't know if you remember this, but Jordan had us only have 3 kick takers for penalties.
Yes.
Your team took 7, and you guys won the quarterfinal. Then you went on to the semifinal and came from behind again to knock off the number 1 seed in another shootout. And I think you went on to beat Team Seelig in the
Dude, how did you even pull that up?
Dude, it was epic. I actually found an old email from Jordan McLaren, and I was like,
awesome.
Let's go. Jordan, thank you.
I thought you were going to say is because one of the first times I actually got involved in Hampton Park.
Okay.
Well, Jordan McLaren's a connection. We'll probably get there at some point. But was the soccer league. I was like I was just starting to come to the church, and Jordan's like, "Hey, come to my league with me."
Even before you remember or anything like that?
I believe so.
No
So
way?
I thought that's where you're going to go with that.
No.
And then you pulled out like, and that year, which is church league soccer, doesn't really matter ultimately. But it was I did this whole
it kind of
I did
matters. Look
this
at the
hashtag,
connection.
and my text was called "Take the Ship." And so I remember I had people like Nate Warwick and others. I believe he was on the team. We're just yelling, "Take the ship!" And I was like, "This is awesome!" Like,
Dude,
whatever. Was that the year? Maybe the Airbeth Ford scored. I don't think so.
It might have been the year before.
Okay, that was one year.
Or the year after, honestly.
Yeah, anyway.
One of those. Dude,
Scope.
epic memories to
Forgot
find.
about that.
Oh, it's so funny. So this is my question to kind of kick things off.
Great.
Here are these come from behind wins. And I'm wondering, I mean, in all the years that you've played and coached, especially soccer, but other sports too, do you feel like that has been a common storyline or not? And I don't even know the answer to this for you. So have you found that there's been a lot of times in your life you've been behind and had to come back? Or is it like you've been on teams that have just rolled them? I don't know. What's been your, maybe it's just been a lot of variety.
I feel like my life's kind of like that.
Yeah?
I don't feel like in a lot of things of what I do, I'm never really the best right away. I'm not even saying that I'm not sure I get to the best, but I think it's just the idea of like, you just keep planting and eventually you trust the process. And once you know it, when you start doing that stuff and you commit to it and you stick to it, some success usually happens from that. But as far as team wise, yeah, I mean, like, I remember my junior year of college with James Whitaker. We ended up winning the national championship that year. And
This
we won
is Clearwater?
This is
that
Clearwater,
right?
yeah. So we won it that year, but we had a bunch of like, I'd call us like misfits, like the year before, like guys that honestly, like a lot of us weren't living for the Lord, doing things that we shouldn't have been doing and just living for ourselves. And Coach Whitaker came in at an amazing time, and God used him to kind of just bring a bunch of misfits together through a game. God used a game like soccer. And I think that year before they had like got knocked out when they had a good team, they got knocked out and and they didn't make nationals. And then our year, like there's like, who are like they lost a lot of seniors. It was like, who are these? Like, they're not going to be anybody. And we ended up going on and winning it. And then we won it again the year after. But I remember Coach Whitaker at the end of that year, someone like asked him, was like, so like you won this thing where you planned. It's like, dude, honestly, like this team I was not like, I was planning on us being like,
That's
you
the
know,
best.
a good foundation for the next year,
Yeah.
and then we go win it next year.
Yeah.
But like, so there you go.
Kinda
We kind of came
stolen.
from
Yeah.
there's one right there.
Yeah.
My junior year of college, we kind of did that.
Dude, that's sweet. And then you said you even repeated, right? Next year
Yeah, we
too.
did.
That's huge. Sweet. Well, there you go. So it's
Yeah,
not only
man.
been a theme in sports, but even carried into
Definitely in my life, I
too.
think.
That's crazy. That's really
Like
cool.
I look back, like I'm not extraordinary in much in my opinion, but I found like one thing maybe I learned from my parents is just like stick to it, like just kind of commit to a vision,
Mhm.
commit to kind of and wouldn't you know it, like good things happen.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I was thinking, I've even heard you, our Sunday school class sometimes mention that, Galatians idea of like, keep planning, keep planning, keep planning, keep planning, trust God for the harvest. So it's kind of cool that you even saw that for all these years prior.
It's
And
my
that even
it's my
become
LLC
like a-
name's actually Keep Planning.
No way. I didn't know that.
If you go to keepplan.com, it's some like GoDaddy like hanger landing page. Like I never touched it. But
Okay.
that's actually it because it's that idea. Like
Dude.
whether in our personal, professional, sports, spiritual, witnessing, building relationships, like the harvest of whatever we want ultimately just comes from daily planning and taking action and moving towards that. And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's a solid one to live by. I feel like, again, like I just remember you saying it because I remember even that day thinking how powerful that is of an idea. And I think it's so cool that it's actually been a part of your life story, not just one cool thing you learned randomly and shared. That's sweet.
Yes.
Okay, so some more icebreakers just for fun. Some this or that. I'll start with Greenville area, eating places. These are quick. You just got to answer fast. Sidewall, or would you do Lewis Barbecue?
Lewis Barbecue.
All right. If you're playing soccer on a pitch, would you rather it be the manicured grass or high-end turf?
Grass.
Thought that might be the case. Productivity-wise, would you rather be, if you need to work alone, stay focused, locked in, 5 a.m. by yourself, or would you be up at 10 p.m. or later for that late night grind?
10 p.m. or later.
Yeah. So a quick 5-minute video call, or would you rather just the company or team that's meeting send out a perfectly formatted 2-page memo?
5-minute call.
5-minute call. How about this? Would you rather be someone who moves fast and breaks things potentially, or measure twice, cut once? How would you describe yourself? Maybe that's better than saying what would you
Depends on
want
what
to
it
be.
is.
Okay. Yeah.
I think in like business stuff at times I can kind of just say like, let's just try it and see what happens. But like when it comes to buying a car, I'm like
Yeah.
overly checking things out. That's just,
Researching
like,
all it. Yeah.
kind of. So I think it
Makes
just
sense.
depends on the situation.
That makes sense. All right. How about this? So what tools do you like to use for work, personal life, goals you set, whatever, like Apple Notes? Have you heard of Notion as an app or something like that? Or maybe even just physical pen and paper, calendar wise? Are you doing digital pen and paper?
My wife and I have a family calendar, which is an unlock. If you don't have a family calendar digitally where you can like update things, oh man.
Yeah.
People are probably like, yeah, duh. But that's awesome. No, but I'm a huge pen and paper guy. Like to the
Really?
point where I almost bought pen and paper right now today.
Yeah.
Because
Do you want me to pass you a pen?
no.
Okay.
But like it just helps my like train of thoughts. And usually what I write on there is like very chicken scratchy. Because ultimately I feel like I live a lot of my life in bullet points. But when it comes to like conversations or thinking through things, pen and paper, like I have my Aunt Becky, she calls them yellow dogs, like big notepads, like the old school notepads.
Yeah.
And so if I can, I will do pen and paper pretty much
Sweet.
anywhere.
Yeah. I think it was Drew recently had not just for kids. I think he had every sermon of his starts with that. as
Yeah,
well.
I mean,
He's just
but
saying he
then
loves
and
it.
then the only when we talk about sermons, other keeping things. I use the Apple Notes app wherever my
Yep.
phone is. Dude, check this out. This isn't, but that's the only time I really take digital notes is Drew's and guys' sermons.
Yep.
I have a sermon notes folder. Guess how many number on my sermon notes folder? And this is nothing about take me out of it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just
No,
a number.
I'm just curious. Let's say 102.
367.
Oh man.
So like, dude, every Sunday morning since I started coming to Hampton Park, every Sunday morning, I
Really?
used to do Sunday nights, and honestly, I just got lazy. I was like, I'm living too much on my phone on that time. So, I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
Sunday
just-
mornings,
Yep.
pretty much every Sunday morning, and if my phone dies, because I'm horrible at charging my phone at night, I'll use Shell's phone. But every Sunday morning, whoever's teaching,
Gonna have some notes. That's sweet.
and I use emojis rather than words a lot of times. Like if I have a
Yes.
thought, like
Yes, I forgot about
let's talk
this.
about like
Yep.
a moment where I'm like, man,
Yeah.
that was a raise hands or a mind blown.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I use mind blown
yeah,
emoji,
yeah.
so that then like I can search mind blown emoji and find all the moments where my mind was blown.
Dude,
So there you go. That's the only time I like digital notes I take, and it's the Apple Notes for sermon notes.
that's sweet. I actually remember you mentioned that about emojis. I think you might have even sent me a text one time, some emojis of a
Like,
sermon.
I just searched mind
I
blown.
love it. Look at that.
So there's all my mind blown moments.
Dude, that's so clever. That's so simple too, but like really helpful.
So that's the only time as far as tools. But most of the time, pen and paper. If it wasn't anything else, I can't. I'm too scattered thoughts, unfortunately.
No worries. Makes sense. All right. A couple more. These are going to be fill in the blank style.
Oh,
so
man.
the one piece of tech you couldn't live without is...
My phone.
Yeah. I think we almost need
Unfortunately.
it. I know. Maybe we find a way to... People are trying so hard to change that. They make so many different types of phones now. Anyway.
I just think it's life. And it's a tool. It's just a matter of like anything. You can be disciplined in how you use it or not.
Yeah. Well said. And then best book. You've even recommended a couple to me recently, even gave me one, but best book you've read maybe recently, last year or two, something stands out.
Big one I've been sharing, Garden City.
Sweet.
By John Mark Comer.
Cool. And then you make so many of these. This is a fun one to ask you. What's a surprising connection you've made? Like there were even a couple you've reached out to, different random, I don't know, surprising connection, whether it's in person or even someone that you just connected with through the apps that you've been a part of in the past.
I mean, I think that I love people
Yeah.
and relationships and connecting, and I think I get that a lot from maybe both my dad and my mom in different aspects. But I think over work, like today I was talking with someone who him and I are going to be working with the trainer. He's probably one of the top trainers in America, and he trains everyone from Justin Timberlake to Saquon Barkley to anyone in between from his 150 square foot garage in LA. But so that's kind of a cool, whatever, but there's a cool connection that we just, met through some various people. I was connected with him from another trainer who trains Chip and Joanna Gaines and Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds and all that. And so
Nice.
there's like stuff like that. In the fitness space, I've had a really amazing, cool opportunity just to use software to meet people. And then through that, be able to show them I care and pray for them and love them and just try to be something different. Today I was texting a guy this morning that's out in LA. That's another guy, LA guy, and had made a hand leather Bible for him, and stuff like that. But I think work obviously is a huge connection point, whether you're at a principal at your school, right? A Christian school, or whatever your vocation is, you'll have that. And we're working on this house project maybe right now. And so that's kind of been interesting. Like I was telling Shell, I think this house project is going to maybe connect us with some people in the Greenville community, which I'm really excited about. Just I don't need a house. I need a house to live, but I don't need whatever house we're going to. I'm fine where we're at, but I'm it's kind of a cool moment. Just use God uses houses to show provision in different ways, but also to make connections with people. And I'm really actually excited as we kind of get closer to that to see what that looks like.
That's sweet. Yeah.
So
dude.
I don't know. There's all kinds of connection. I think we have people moments every day.
Yep.
God gives us people moments every day. And it could be, I just talked to you right there, it could be the lady at the Publix deli that when I first met her downtown, honestly, she had a little bit of attitude maybe, and I had one too. To the point where I'm walking out, Holy Spirit was dude, you need to chill out, bro. But after time, now Yvette and I became and when we'd see her in Lowe's and all that, that was a connection too, right? That's just
cool.
as important now rather than feeling celebrity or pro. They're all human beings.
Yep.
They're all, God created them, and we have connections every day. And I think people moments that God gives us it's just super cool. It's we miss it so many times by forgetting that. They're everywhere. From the Publix deli lady to the trainer in LA to fill in the blank, helps you with whatever. They're people moments. The guy who comes and checks out your plumbing thing.
Yeah.
I had a guy check out an AC, okay, and started talking with him. Come to find out, him and I go to the same rock climbing thing. And easily Project
That's
Rock.
awesome.
And there's people connection. That was just as cool if you really think about it than fill in the blank.
Yep.
And I think that's just something to call out.
Yep.
Yvette at the Publix thing, to the point where she knows my kids, and we'd see her at Lowe's, and she's like, Jeff and Rochelle, and she's from Jamaica, so she has this really killer accent. That's just as cool actually when I think about it. But I so often can put, anyway.
We all can, dude. Ugh, so true. All right. So what we're going to do is kind of work through your life story and kind of start there towards the beginning. So
cool.
What were you known for as a kid? Are there some things that stand out? Something that kind of captures your personality? Maybe a story from your childhood, maybe even toddler years. I don't know. Maybe you broke a bone. Maybe
a pastor's kid.
Okay.
So I've always been a pastor's kid. My dad was a youth pastor, and now he's kind of a head pastor. And so that's one thing, I guess, being involved in the church day in and day out in all kinds of different ways, and people at our house and all that. As a toddler, I remember one time my mom and dad got called in because I was really into the show Cops back in the day. Remember Bad Boys, Bad Boys? Oh man,
I don't.
You don't? Oh my word, you gotta look that up on YouTube. Are you kidding me?
I should look it up
I
right
mean,
now.
maybe you shouldn't, because I'm sure I'm like gonna say this and people are gonna look it up and it'll be like some horrible episode. But anyway, I remember like watching one time, and it was like there's this whole song. It was like Bad Boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for
Okay,
you?
yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
So like
yeah,
as a
yeah,
5-year-old,
okay.
think like my son Russell's age.
Uh-huh.
I'm walking into like my Sunday class with a baby blue suit, and I am just singing it all day, every day, and dancing to the point where my mom had to come in and get me, because like I just was disobedient at that point too, but also just like vibing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know. Like as a kid, I always had ideas.
Yeah.
Like I just texted with her, like my grandparents actually yesterday. I was like, hey, remember when I had that idea that I would start a snowboard hill company in my backyard? Like, you know, it's like, what do you think? Like, but I had no idea it was a dumb idea, although many of them were dumb. But yeah, I don't know. Played sports. I don't know.
Part of what I love about it, I didn't know what you would say, but I was kind of thinking one thing that's fun is, you know, you kind of give hope to, I mean, like you said, Russell's now the age that you were when you're doing that. And I'm thinking, you know, we're both parents, we'll get to this, but we're dads of 4. And I'm thinking there's times when parents our age are watching their kids like, oh no, like, where is this headed? So I was almost wondering, like with your parents, were you the dreamer and visionary you are now? At least I see you as that.
Yeah.
Were you some of that when you were young? How did that show up?
It showed up in snowboard mountains.
That would have been epic.
But then like it also, I was
would've been
like
epic.
kind of fiery at times. I remember there's like in varsity basketball.
Mm-hmm.
We had a good team for years, you know, and then all the guys left. And so like I was me and this other dude, and I was like so frustrated. I remember one time just being so frustrated and just like, I might have walked off the court. And I think the game was over, but I think it was, but like, I was like kind of fiery and like, like I think about the grace and the patience and how, and I'm like, wow, like there's times that in the night when I check on my kids every night. I go to every kid after they're all asleep, Shell's asleep, and I check on them. And it's one of the most peaceful nights. It's one of the most reflective nights I find. Sometimes it's good. And like, man, I was a good dad today, you know, sometimes I'm bad, whatever. But then I'm like, when I think about it, I'm like, man, at 13, 14, I freaked out. Is Russell or Lincoln or something gonna be? But you know what? By God's grace, he worked, and he'll keep my parents, and I'll just keep working through that too.
So growing up a pastor's kid,
Yes.
Same for me. I'm wondering, how early did you start, that you remember at least, either asking questions or make a profession of faith? Was that something earlier for you, or did that kind of come in later? So 10.
Yeah.
So in your testimony, would you say that's when you first,
I believe that Jesus died on the cross for my sins in that moment as a sinner
That's awesome.
with my mom. But sanctification's a process, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think my story, my 10 to 19 was a lot of me figuring out how important Jesus truly was in my life.
Let's jump right into that. I'd love to hear some of that. So like, I mean, let's see. So you're kind of age 10, kind of finished up elementary school. You're a pastor's kid. Was
At
this
a Christian
profession?
school.
You're with your mom. So is this like after a service?
Yeah,
Is
like
this
an evangelistic meeting, you know, like
Yep.
back in the day when people do like evangelistic weeks or something.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry Savinsky, ever heard of him?
I probably should have. I don't know.
No, maybe not. But anyway, some people here probably would. But yeah, just like after that, and yeah, so I was like saved and baptized shortly after. But a pastor's kid, one of the oldest of 4. Never, like I said, like not necessarily good right away at things, but not understanding like that's part of the process, and just like, and so like I always felt like I had to like work to earn something. Where now I realize like that's actually kind of the fun part. You follow me?
Yeah.
But that kind of, as a teenager, that looks that shows insecurities.
Yep.
It shows things like frustrated at the basketball game. You know, it shows all that kind of stuff. And so, but yeah, so I'd say like up till high school, started hanging out with some kids like in other schools and stuff like that. But my parents, it was like college time. It's like, where are you going to go? Like they want to go to Christian University, but I did not want to go to Bob Jones. That's where my parents went.
Okay.
My dad has a crazy story actually, how he like got saved out of like crazy stuff to end up
No
at
way.
Bob Jones like 3 months later, and like, God, I mean, my dad's awesome. But so I was like, I'm not Bob Jones, and at that point they were like, well, maybe Clearwater, and you can play soccer there.
Yeah.
So I remember going down there and being like, cool, it's like on the beach and it's Florida and soccer and it sounds good. So I would say like my high school years, just like anything, it was like figuring out life from all types of things personally and spiritually.
How closely connected was the, like, school and church? Like here, obviously we've
Here.
got both.
It was like this.
It was like this. Okay. So you were,
I would say it's like this.
so I mean, you're
heavily.
there 6 or 7 days of the week, every week.
All day, every
Like,
day.
yeah, I mean, all the time.
And my family then was like, my dad, I mean, it was a church of like 300-400, right? So you're
Okay.
maybe it's like half the size of maybe 300. I mean, my dad's like one of like two-ish, 2.5 pastors. You follow me? So it's
Okay.
like, my dad's senior pastor, but my dad's like
Doing it all.
both who he is as a person and just what the pastoral called for. Like he's doing a lot. So we were involved in the church and during and after hours.
Was that something you resented at all? Like, did you get sick of being there, or did you even think about it? It was more just like, I'm there, whatever.
Oh, probably sure at times.
Yeah.
Now it's packaged in different ways of things I can get resentful about if I'm not careful.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah. It's
So
true.
definitely.
Yeah.
But
Did you ever like bring it up?
okay,
hey,
like
why
for
are-
example, my dad is always accessible.
Yeah.
So, okay, sure. Anything ever bad happened,
He's
a
getting
teacher would
called.
always go to my dad. And that's okay. And my dad, looking back, was so gracious and kind in how he handled that. But I knew I was going to there was something coming up when I walk into his house, walk into his office, and my dad would have a 3x5 note card. He still does, like much like pen and paper for me, like I need that. My dad has 3x5 note cards for like everything. And if it was that means, oh boy, something today that I knew I shouldn't have done XYZ and I was one of the 6 people who did it. The reality is my dad's available.
He knows.
So he knows about
Yep.
it. But my dad would, I think in that case, do really well. Like he actually would take time to write it down and like, hey, let's think through this. Let's talk
Yeah,
through this.
yeah.
So yeah, like obviously at any point when as a teenager, when you're getting in trouble,
Yep.
you're resentful, period, just
Yep.
because the flesh is real. But
Yep.
also in
Yep.
that things like as a dad being accessible. But I think my dad, he would call it out many times too. And I think I appreciate about that. It was like, dude, I know I'm more accessible. But we're still going to talk about this just because like that's what I'm called to do. And we're going to do that.
Do you ever feel like looking back on that was almost like, would you view it as like a gift in disguise almost? Because I think at that time that's
1000%.
frustrating. But yeah, it's like,
Oh yeah, don't
By
get
him
it.
knowing all
There's
that,
but that's like in
it's so
everything. There's
helpful.
gifts in disguise, everything.
Yeah.
Right now, you and I have a gifts in disguise,
yeah,
right?
it's so true.
But yeah, 1000%. Back then, it was like, ugh.
Yeah.
But like now, it's like that's awesome, and I hope that I can figure. I've not only back then was it awesome, but now as a dad, and I'll have my moments.
Yeah.
Like, what a gift!
Yeah.
What a gift! A
So
dad who loves God's a gift in itself,
Yeah.
but then also
Yeah.
looking to take that in a spiritual manner. And yeah, sure, what he was accessible. Okay, guess what? I got found out more.
Yeah.
And luckily handled it in more, I think, a fairly strategic and understanding and gracious way.
Praise God.
And at the time,
That's
of course, strategy and grace when something's not going the way you want it, both as a 15-year-old or right now as a 36-year-old, we still react a lot of the same ways.
Yep.
Gift in disguise, 1000%.
Yep. So let's kind of transition. Those themes will keep coming up, but from these high school years into the college years. But even before James Whitaker shows up and the influence
Yeah.
that had and all that, but maybe like first for some of our listeners, they might be high schoolers who are thinking about why would they go to college and for what reason. And you already kind of give us a little bit of how you ended up at Clearwater. Your parents were at Bob Jones, then you got to see that, play soccer, all that. It's at the beach. What about career path? Was there a goal in that? Was there a certain major you wanted? Was that something you really thought much about? Was it more just like, nah, anyway, where were you at in wrestling? Feel like, okay, what's
I like
the major I
business
want?
stuff.
You already knew that, even as a high schooler? Or
I just knew that I wanted to get a job at some point that I feel like was a true career vocation. So my dad was like, well, you like business stuff, but let's not do business. Let's do accounting to make it more particular. So at least you have more of a strategic skill set. So that's what I did.
you stick with it the whole way?
Stuck through it the whole way. And I did fine with it.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'll tell people I was an accounting major and they're like, what?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
My junior year of college, I had a good friend who played professional soccer for MLS and actually got some caps with U.S. Soccer. Anyway, he got concussions and ended up working for the Philadelphia Union MLS team.
Okay.
And so their first year, he's still there today. Josh Gross, he's their team manager. He manages all travel and everything. Make sure the guys are just good. Anyway,
Nice.
he was like, "Yo, first year, it's in Philly. You want to intern?" So my junior year, I went and moved to Philly and lived in Philly and lived with him and interned with Philadelphia. It wasn't an accounting internship though.
Yeah.
I was literally the team admin. We started an academy team of their academy team. And I remember doing a whole summer and that had its own ups and downs and everything. But I remember at the end of being like, I do not want to be an accountant. I'm going into my
Just one
senior
for you,
year.
yeah.
Definitely don't want to be an accountant.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to switch it there. So I finished it off and God was good in how he did it. But yeah. So no, I mean, that was my thought when I went there.
Yeah.
I'd like business. Let's do a little bit more specific so we actually have a skill set that's not that can't business, but that's kind of a thought.
Yep.
And midway through, when going into my senior year, I realized I did not want to be an accountant.
Dude, well, it's funny because, I mean, obviously you've already given us some of this, but you're such a people person that obviously any job, you're going to interact with people.
Yeah.
But I do feel like you're probably getting a lot more of that in what you've been doing than what you would have had as an accountant. So that is funny.
My brother's an accountant though right now.
Okay.
And I found and he's kind of heavily leans like people person too.
Okay.
And he's figuring out a way to make it work.
Okay.
But
yeah.
But I think as far as like when your career and all that, one, I didn't honestly, if I'm being real with you, if I look back, my memory can be bad too. I don't know how much I honestly even sought God's will in that, and prayed about it. I was just kind of sounds good. It was very superficial, high level things where now even walking in here today, I was praying God, help this time to be. So there, unfortunately on that, I wish I had some story about God,
sure,
honestly, God did lead through that, but.
Yeah. Well, and I was about to say, what's cool is now you're doing this yourself for your own kids, but you already mentioned your dad is a part in helping you think through some of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of neat that he's being prayerful about it.
Totally.
How awesome is that? That I don't know. It's just a really cool thing that we've got.
When I went there,
dads who are part of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God worked through,
God
to this day still gives us things that we, that we need, that we don't need and all that. But yeah, my dad, another thing that my dad kept praying for when I went to school, is that I would find somebody, that God would bring someone in my life that showed me that Jesus loved me and living for Jesus can be natural and real and day to day and proactive with just people loving them for who they are. And he prayed for that a lot, come to find out. And that's what Jim's Whittaker ended up being. That's
awesome.
And that's if I did, you could take my accounting degree out the way. If I didn't have that,
yeah,
I'm confident that was huge.
It's so cool because we already kind of touched on how there's gifts in disguise or blessings in disguise all the time. And so here we are at Hampton Park, and when James is leaving, I mean, Coach Whittaker to me at the time,
I never thought about that.
And he's coached me my 9th grade year of soccer. He's leaving.
Yeah.
So then it's
dude, that's I never thought about that
until
just right now. That? Full circle moment. Cool I never actually thought about that.
And so I have your dad to blame for praying for that.
Yeah,
but
dude.
no, I'm
Steve
just thinking
Cruz, what's up?
No, I'm just thinking how awesome is that? That
actually is super awesome. You just jazzed me up right there.
Dude, that's sweet.
Oh man, that's super cool.
That's so cool. Actually it'd be fun to hear. So, I mean, is he kind of the main person at that point? There you are at around 19, 20, 21.
Yeah.
Or was I was kind of wondering if there were any spiritual turning points along the way, because in your years tend to, whenever that moment is where you feel like there was kind of a marked change. Be curious if there were any other moments, whether it's camp or any other spiritual mentors in your life, or was it really kind of that was a new thing where someone was that influential in that way outside of your parents?
My junior year of college was kind of my turning point, and there was different people in that. I think I just realized in that moment that I was living for myself in a lot of different ways. And there was a point where I was doing something and I was looking at myself in the mirror. And at the time, I don't really think about it. As I look back, it's almost like God verbally spoke to me. But let's just say that the Holy Spirit was just working. And I remember looking in the mirror because I walk out that door, I make a certain decision that could change my life, or at least drastically do some different things. And it was almost dude, Jeff, I didn't create you for this. And I created people like your dad, note cards praying for you, understanding who you are, James Whittaker. And there was this girl who's now my wife, Rochelle, that loved me and have shown you a different type of love. And I didn't create you for what you're about to go out there for. I created you to be that's what I want for you. And I remember I said, okay, I was pretty much I made the decision, whatever. I was done. And, there were some waterfalls from other people that were involved in that decision. But I remember that being a clear moment in my life where it was all right, God, let's roll.
Yep.
Let's roll. And I gotta now I would say that's one of the biggest kicks. So college, I would look back, it's my dad, Coach Whittaker, and then Rochelle.
Awesome.
And God used those people to make me see that he's worth it. And I got a bigger calling than accounting, soccer, whatever, big time. Let's roll.
So I'm wondering, like, man, the fact that has stood out so much as a turning point has me thinking, what was it like as soon as that happened? Because I think there are people that have big moments, and at least, you know, I've experienced sometimes a big decision. Yeah. All right, God, I'm following you no matter what. I'm not letting anyone pull me away from this. But then there's still times of drift or times of people pleasing or peer pressure. And so there you are, still in college. I'm wondering, was it like an immediate change of friend group? Was it moments where, like, I don't know, what's the aftermath of that moment? Because seeing from then till now that there's a direction that took place is awesome. I'm even wondering for people who are trying to make that decision. I think some people are even caught up in friend groups or struggling through how to live their life. Like, should they follow God or not? They're asking that same question. Can I trust you? Is this really where I should follow? And it can be hard because you're kind of nervous about what's going to happen when I say no to doing that thing or to hanging out with that group in that way. Like, did your friend group change, or was it just your influence on them was different, or
both? And
a little bit both.
And I walked out of that door and I made a certain decision in a moment where it was easy to make all the wrong decision. And I remember telling my one friend, who a guy that was on my soccer team, Tyler Sproul, who was number 11. And so I still to this day, whenever I see the clock 11:11, if I catch it on my phone, I pray for him and send him a screenshot. Did it as recently as last night. That's awesome. I remember going out and telling Tyler, like, yo, bro, And he's like, all right, yeah. And like, no, same. So I remember it. And then like the aftermath that happened from all that, like, and he kind of, I think we ended up going on and coaching at CIU with Coach Whitaker and doing some other things. And like,
cool.
So I think Tyler, and then obviously Rochelle. I mean, I'm married to her at this point. And at that point we weren't even like, we were like soft dating, let's call it, you know? So obviously that was like, James Whitaker, that was a whole nother, to the point where then I left another year later, I graduate, he moves on to CIU. I go with him and coach. To this point of yesterday, I'm still texting him. So like, I think there's people in that, but some of my roommates, we were called Club 303. That was our room was 303. Nice. I mean, you can take that however you want, good and bad. But, you know, that changed a little bit. But like to this day, I still have relationship with them. Yeah. I was snowboarding, skiing with the one last January. That's awesome. The other one was at my house in October for a Clearwater soccer reunion. So, and you know, and they're awesome. Like, I mean, we have a great relationship. So like on that as we can. So, I mean, yeah, there was definitely, I think drifting happens right now to be like, drifting is part, like we are sinful people. Yep. And not even sinful. We're like pretty basic in a lot of ways. Like the things that take our attention, or they did some study. If you read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, they did some study, which I don't know how they did this, but they said that essentially like humans' attention span's that of like a goldfish right now. How they did that, don't know. But I could see it. Yeah. And so that's drifting. Yeah. And does it look itself as far as maybe the decision I would have made walking out of that bathroom? No. Right. But it might be something else. I think drifting always. And that's why we have to be so, I mean, it says be vigilant for a reason, right? Yep. And people in relationships change. And I mean, there's some relationship right now of people that I love that I'm like, man, I haven't really had that because of XYZ, maybe me, them, but kind of some drifting. Yep. So I think that's just life.
It is. I think that's what's really special, not only about that we can know the truth because God's preserved it for us in his word, but also we can have people who know that truth, who are following him, whether it's your dad, Rochelle, James Whitaker, people know, and they almost kind of keep pulling you back into alignment. Like if you've got the right friends and the right community, people that are trying to do that together, we keep pulling each other back into alignment with what's true. And the drift it tends to be when, whether it's our attention span or something else, we get distracted by other things and chasing other things. We have no one in our life who helps reorient us and pull us back into alignment. So,
and God's good with gifts like that, with people.
So good. Oh man.
Like think about that. Yep. Like that's my dad prayed for that because ultimately he knew how I was created. I mean, everyone needs related. We were created for a relationship with him and each other, but he knew like Jeff needs to see somebody that he can be like, I can ride. And so God gave that gift of somebody and people. And it might be one person, it might be a handful of people. You know, you hear like, oh, such and such a team is just like on fire for God. Well, like, sweet. That is awesome. It might be that. Or it might be one. Both are gifts. And hopefully we build a relationship with him and them. So we can keep this. It's a process. Right now, my drifting looks different as a 36-year-old husband and dad of 4. But I'm still doing it. Is that fair?
It is. It's very fair. I'm thinking, another thing that's an interesting thing at that time of life, like before we hit the next chapter of your life, I'm thinking, okay, when you're in college, it's now your first years of independence. Like you can now make decisions on your own. But for a parent, if they see their kid and they're not sure which direction they're headed, I find it interesting. Like, I think it's really cool. In other words, that your dad then goes immediately to, I'm praying for this thing, this person, that God might put someone in his life like that.
I mean, I think like one thing I think about that is, one, as parents, we aren't, like we're not going to, God's going to use other people in their lives and being okay with and being excited about them and being proactively praying about that, right? So often we pray for like people's spouses or whatever. And like, I think that's very important. But things like my dad knew he's 1,000 miles away. And he's okay with saying like, now also my dad was proactive with me. My dad would still, you know, he built, there's relationships. I think you'll find like with my life, like, and it is about relationships. And so my dad was very much like that with me, but I think he was okay. And to the point of praying, like God, he needs, I can't be that for him right now.
Yeah.
You're going to have to provide that. So that's like my dad saying like, so that's like in my life, right? Like there's times when a lot of times I drop the kids off at school, I can't be that for them for that 8 hours. So a lot of times when I'm driving up the hill, I'm like, God, you got them. Help them to see and show you more, help them to be encouraged and be an encouragement, keep them physically, spiritually, mentally, because I have to give that to you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the people in their lives right there are Lisa Canfield and Christina Wynn and fill in the blank, Paula Watts, our teacher, whatever, Doc at the lunchroom. It's all that kind of stuff. And I think that's just like in life general is like we as parents, we have one piece of it. And sometimes that piece is just giving it up and praying about it, that God provides what he does need.
Yeah. Man, I'm thinking about how it can be so hard for us as parents to do that.
It's super.
But it's honestly good practice of exactly what Jesus teaches. Like it's those who try to grab everything and get control over it all that actually lose it. But man, when you can do what your dad did and just like, all right, God, like I trust you enough, even with my son, to ask.
And ultimately, when I'm looking in that mirror that night, my dad's 1,000 miles away, but who did God still pop in my brain at that moment? My dad.
That's cool.
You follow me?
Yeah.
So there's still things like from the prayer of like, but like he ultimately still was doing things relationally and showing me what Jesus love looked like. Okay. So
it's huge.
I mean, so that's, I don't know. I think that's kind of cool. Like that's kind of cool to me too. It's like he's 1,000 miles away, yet in that moment, I literally to this day can clearly see myself right now looking in the mirror and thinking those three people and my dad being the first one.
That's powerful. How awesome is that?
Yeah, Dad. So you'll hear this probably. So there you go.
Yeah, dude, it's so cool. All right, well, let's talk about one of those people, Rochelle.
Yeah.
Let's hear some fun, random things about the start of that journey.
Oh, dude, I was a junior.
Okay.
In college, so playing soccer. So the spring season, she plays volleyball. She also played basketball at college. So volleyball and soccer both there. They were historically known. Stay away from the soccer guys, and the volleyball girls are off limits. That was kind of just like, let's just call it.
Like from the coaches or from
we're not going to get into the details. We're just not getting the details.
Just how it was.
You know, whatever. It doesn't matter. Don't matter. So come to find out, Shell came to school, and I get the school she was from. There's this guy that was like, "Hey, you're going to Clearwater, and I'm there. I'm a junior. There's these 3 guys I want you to meet, and I think we can be like an influence for them. You know, I was one of those 3. Didn't know that till like later down. But anyway, so she comes in the lunchroom. To this day, I can still say she comes in the dining hall. You know, the soccer guys have been there.
Okay. And
I was like, dude, that girl's pretty. That's cool. Don't got a chance. So let's just start there. She's cool. I'm going to be nice though.
Yeah, but this is, so when she walks into the cafeteria, you know you're about to talk to her? Like
no,
the guy,
I'm like, oh, that's a
you just see this.
It's
this
freshman.
is, okay. So you don't even know that conversation happened yet between your friend
No, not at all.
Okay,
Come find out later.
Okay.
So then she comes in, I guess, so we just start, I was like, hey, I'm going to at least be nice to her. I'm not going to, out of my league, but I'll be nice. Okay? So let's just, no agenda. I'm be kind. We'll come to find out, she tells me the story, and she goes, of the 3, Jeff, you were the kindest. Whoa. So that's kind of how that's how it all connected. Because I was just trying to be kind. So yeah, we, for about a year, they have part of that. There's like this, I guess, unwritten rule that freshmen don't date on the volleyball team, at least during that time. So again, I don't know all the details and don't quote me on it exactly. So long story short, we were friends for a year. And I realized, man, I have a chance. I got to try to win this thing. Well, like looking back at my parents one time, like, you know, we used to send text messages
Yeah.
and every text cost
Yes.
to receive
Oh man,
and send.
forgot about this. Yep.
Yeah, dude.
So, no.
This is before like, and like the
Yes.
unlimited plan was like $19 a month.
Right.
But like, who's just spend $19 a month?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, my parents spent $90 a month, and I got when they found out one month I had an $800 bill for text messages, and they were to Rochelle. And I was like, "Yo,
Did you say $800?
yes, I saw my dad. My mom, I had to call her and I confirmed. It was like it was hundreds of dollars.
What
And my mom
in the
called. She's like,
world?
"Jeff, what's going on?" I was like, "Mom, I am so sorry. I'll like figure out how to pay it for it, but let me tell you, she's worth it. She's worth it."
You guys will like her too, I promise.
So yeah, we started talking, hanging out, and then we dated like her sophomore year, my
that's
senior
epic.
year, and then we dated for a few years and got engaged
Oh man.
and have been married going on 13 years in March.
Now this is random, but
Yeah.
somewhere along the way when we were hanging out with you guys, maybe early
Okay.
on, I feel like Rochelle, or maybe both of you were telling us a story. I want to say that she brought up the fact that there was a time, I could be wrong.
Dude,
sorry if
I don't
that I'm just thinking of Paul right now because I don't know if this is true, but that he showed up at the gym and she's going to introduce her parents
Oh, yeah.
to you. And there's this moment where he's like, please, not the redheaded
Oh
one.
yeah. So like I was with the three dudes that, you know, they're here to save witness to or whatever.
Yeah.
Like to help get
So
on
that's the
fire.
group you're with.
Those dudes
And you still don't
some
know
others,
about it.
and
And you still don't- but you're
I
in
was
the group.
lowest on the tunnel at that
From
moment.
his point of view, at least.
Yeah, Paul. So like Paul's like, "Yo, Paul, joke's on you, brother." No, but yeah, that definitely did happen because he visited and he was like, "Oh, please, not the redhead."
Oh, it's
But you
so
know what?
funny.
It worked out, and
did.
we're 13 years. I'm going on 13 years and 4 kids and a lot of other multiple cities, and here we are in Greenville.
And I mean, just a fun call out. Paul's now in town. And
Yeah.
you guys have won the ship a couple times in
Oh,
softball.
dude, I don't
So,
think he's
mean,
ever lost a softball championship.
Yeah, he's
until he
actually-
quit. I think last year because he wanted to go out on top and with golf. But yeah, I don't think
No
he's
one,
lost.
no one knew who would win finally yet
Dude,
again. But
I-
before that, it was a
He's
lock.
a first baseman. You get your first baseman.
He was a lock.
I told him. I said, I know. I said when he first came here, like, "Paul, you gotta play softball." And I think he wanted to play like third, shortstop, and third. And I'm like, "Paul, not that you can't, but here's the deal, bro. In this league,
Don't give away the secrets,
a
man.
killer
No.
first baseman at your like that you could do it like that's and you always are in the play, right? You're
Yeah.
always in the
Stand-
game."
Yeah.
And so he became my first baseman whenever I would get it. It was
Oh,
awesome.
man. It's so good.
But yeah, no, he's my guy. We just spent a few days together on this whole Ice Mageddon thing, thinking that we
Oh,
were going to lose
dude.
power.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, now we got snow maybe coming this
Yeah.
weekend, which I guess whenever this gets released, that might sound real ancient.
yeah,
What about the early years of marriage? I'm thinking you guys have been, you said 13 years. That's awesome. So what was it like early on for you guys? I'm even thinking of other couples who've recently got married at Hampton Park, people who are only a couple years in,
Yeah.
maybe they don't even have kids yet. I'm wondering, what was that whole process like? Any things that you'd want to offer as part of your story or advice to people that are in those the engagement or early marriage years? Because some of those big conversations, how many kids are we going to have, and how long do we wait until we have them, and just some of that. Do you remember any of the conversations you guys had, or any of the
I
thoughts?
was in Columbia because I went to with James to Columbia International, help start that program. So I had been there for a year. She joined me now. They had these like really nice apartment complex and we lived on campus. Rochelle's always has and always will be more than something I wish I could be super proactively supportive and like go with the flow, and not only go with the flow, like set me up to succeed. So she did that, come in there.
What a gift. It's awesome.
Rochelle's smart. She won't tell you that. She's like very smart, like 4.0 through college, 4.0 through her double major, got her accelerated nursing bachelor's in 18 months, 4.0, got her doctorate while having 4 kids, 4.0. Like Rochelle's very smart. And so
Incredible.
when she left school, she was planning on going to med school, and she put it on hold to get married and to come to CIU. So like we're doing that. At that time, she's working at Express. I mean, she has like a double major, like very smart, very capable, and just like doing that, and kind of just supporting me and us while we're figuring it out. And then and I was like, I look back, I'm looking at it right now, I'm like, wow, like what a cool thing. And then she ultimately, moved to Charleston Medical University, South Carolina. She went and got her accelerated bachelor's degree in nursing and all that. But let's see, like some early stuff.
Did you guys ever during those dating years talk about how many kids
No.
or engagement? No.
I don't even think until we were 5 years married, it was like, do we want to have kids? Let's just see what happens.
Wow.
And then I think it's always kind of just been like that. So yeah,
kind of after each one, just
I
like
think
a
like stuff like
check-in.
that. As far as like getting married, we're not your guy as far as like planning out everything to be and like hitting.
No, it shows that you don't have to have it all planned out. Yeah, it's like be committed.
I mean, even like we moved to CIU, it was like we're gonna live here, and then like what, 14 months later, we're moving to Charleston. I think one thing that back then budget was like small, but yet like I remember we lived on campus, and so like people have always been important to us, and hopefully they continue to be, and hopefully we can serve and love them proactively in a very humble way. But like even back then, I think it started. I think one thing I think with young couples, if you can like find someone who can mentor you, and that takes taking relationship. So James and Beth Whitaker now they're living there. We'd go over to their house. We'd watch their kids. So they go on date night. Like we build a relationship, and wouldn't you know, the harvest that comes from that is like they're mentoring you, they're giving you advice, they're helping you, all that. Wow, what a gift! And then it showed itself then in how we would like do it with like the soccer guys. Our door was always open. They could come at any time. They could knock on the door of a young married couple's house. They could come in, and whatever was in the fridge was theirs. They wanted it. I remember there's times where our grocery budget at that time was so small, and it was all in the fridge. And I'd be like, "Yo, what's up, dudes? Like, come in." And like, then I'd be like, not only am I taking food from our budget that's already there, but I'm like, "Shell, can you make it? You know, like, can you make fresh chicken fingers like right now?" And like Shell was gracious and willing to do it. And you'll see that today. Hopefully, she's an amazing rock star. Proverbs 31 all the way. But yeah, like stuff like that though. I think like being proactive with the relationships, both to be mentored, but to serve. Like I remember I had James Whitaker, we took him one time, we said, "Hey, go on a date night, we got your kid." They just had a newborn. I was walking around for 2 hours because the one just cried the whole time while the other one had like the other 3 or 4 kids at the time. But like that's like a both way street. Relationships are. Yeah. I think as a young couple, so many times we can forget, like we can get so focused on each other. And like, and then like you maybe you're not even going to all the church, like a life group or whatever, right? Like find the moments to be involved with people. Yeah. Because that's what we're kind of created for. Yeah. I think that's a lot what we did at CIU. Yeah. I'm honestly, I don't know that I hear that often about a young couple going and watching kids together, but I love it. I really think that, like, if you haven't had kids yet and you're married and you got a lot of free evenings, like, what a cool way not only to serve others, but to actually, you enjoy this reciprocal relationship. Like, you're getting to serve them, help them out, but you're also getting influence, like you said, and you're getting practice of how to take care of kids, hold an infant for 2 hours. Yeah, it was awesome. Sweet. But yeah, I mean, that's what I think that's like as a young couple, it can be easy to be, you got somebody now who's supposed to like amplify how your reach can be for Jesus and to people. And I think so many times like, it can happen as it's not just young couples, every stage of a person's life, it can happen. Yep. But yeah, like having people, I remember like having people over to the house and just like guys, and it's like chicken fingers, like shall we make it, and be okay with it, and like suddenly all the chicken that we bought for the whole week's now just gone. I'm like, Shell, it's all, we'll figure it out. Like, but yeah, then we moved to Charleston. She wanted, so then Shell put that on hold because she was like, I'm gonna go on school. So what do you want to do? I want to be either a nurse anesthetist or a nurse practitioner. Cool. What's the first step? We got to get my bachelor's in nursing. Great. Where are we going? Wow. So we moved to Charleston, Medical University of South Carolina, and lived in Charleston for about 18 months. Yep. Which is a super cool part of our lives. Charleston's, I mean, there's parts of me that would like to go back to Charleston, but Greenville's where we're at. But Charleston was just an awesome time doing school and just living life there. And yeah, and then she finished that, and it was like, where do you want to, job time. My brother, I thought, might come to Bob Jones, and we kind of started to build some relationships like Jordan and Nancy McLaren, Brandon and Camry Moss. We knew Drew Madeline Custer, just some other people. And so she put job opportunities in Charleston, ICU ones, and in Greenville, and ended up in Greenville Memorial. So we moved to Greenville. That's where we didn't have kids yet. And so within 3 years, we moved in 3 cities. Wow. Wow. And then, and then ended up in Greenville. That's kind of our young life. And then started working for a little bit. And then eventually was like, I guess we should maybe think about kids. Yeah. I'm wondering if you hadn't had the conversations, which I think is actually really awesome. It's more like, hey, we're just committed to take this journey together. Let's go. Yeah. So then at some point you do get to that moment. What was that like? I mean, was it the kid moment? Yeah. Like, were you guys just like, I think it was like, I think we need to start talking about this and let's just see what happens. Yeah. And that's always a phrase. And, God's been good in that way. So yeah. No. Yeah. And I don't think that looking back now, as I talk about it, like take this journey together, like it does kind of sound freeing and kind of like really cool. And like, But in the time, there's a lot of frustrating points in that, to be clear, you know, because we're both created differently and how we think we need to take that journey together. So it's not like it was like all, you know, there was times where I could have led better, listened better, or served better, or feel love better, all that kind of stuff. So either way, whether you're super planned out or whether you're, I think, I don't know. But yeah, we got married and came here and then had a kid, and now I've had 3 or 4. We're at 4. So
I still love, I mean, so yeah, you have 4 kids. I remember, I think we were pregnant with our 4th, maybe not yet. It was right around then, but we probably were. It was probably me telling you that. And then I remember you're like, listen, dude, there's nothing like passive aggressive comments being made at 3 a.m. while you're dealing with 4.
I'm the best at
the
them,
4th kid in the middle of the night.
I mean, I'm horrible. Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I just love it.
Oh, I know. Shell laughs because, like, at the first one, you know, you're changing a diaper at 3 a.m. I remember, like, there's a moment where I was like laughing, like, this is awesome. But then by 4, I was like, yeah, unfortunately, you know, I get God, what does Drew Conley say? You have 2 ears and 1 tongue for a reason, and you know, in those moments, I probably just listen and not, passive aggressive 3 a.m. Been there, done that.
What has it been like becoming a dad? You now have 4 kids. I'm curious about that parenting element of it. The side where you get into, throughout your testimony, you mentioned your dad was there for you so consistently, prayed for you, offered really helpful advice and influence, so many things along the way, even handled the discipline things well, where he's tapped into all the teachers, they're sharing all the info with him. You can't get out of much. Now, you know, you're entering that phase, 2nd grader, K5, 2 younger ones at home. What's parenting been like so far? Any surprises or things that stand out right away? Things that have come along the way as now being the dad, being the one to try to help with that.
Dude, anyone out there's got some help on just like living with being a dad, like in the sense of like, I think it's one thing being a dad. It's another thing being a dad who loves the Lord and wants their kids to love the Lord, and like that eternal, like it's one thing like, where's my kid going to go to school and will I be able to support him and what am I leaving for him and fill in the blank. Okay. That's one thing. Another thing is like this whole, like this eternal, like how do I do what I do today to not make sure he picks accounting, to make sure that he like knows that I love him because I love Jesus. Does that make sense? And some of that's free because he ultimately does the work, right? But like, I just know how much I can drift, and so day in day out, I have my drifting moments, and day in day out, I can be my hardest critic, and if I'm not careful, that can turn into like you're not doing good enough in like little things that I think if I'm not careful, like that's probably true. I need to get better, but like Satan can use. Sometimes at night when I check on my kids every night, and I hope that they get older, I still do it. Like there's the most peaceful 2 minutes of my day. It's dark. And in those moments, I find I will literally sometimes raise my hands in praise, like, thank you, God. Today, fill in the blank. I feel like you were glorified. There's times where I don't. And walking out of those rooms, either way, that's hard. I mean, so that's something that I think was surprising for me, and just how I day in, day out work through that. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I just more questions. I'm thinking, you know, when you say you're one of your hardest critics, I'm wondering, as a dad, do you feel like you've at all sensed there is that type of critic that shows up, or is it different for you, the voice of a dad towards his kids than the dad towards himself? Like, are you only critical of yourself, or are you critical of others? I'm just kind of like curious. I don't even know.
That's the thing. Like, I can be kind of, probably. I can be kind of critical towards others. Right.
And that doesn't have to be all bad.
Not
either.
a bad thing.
No,
I live my life in bullet points. I kind of say, like, so if it needs to be 5 bullet points and there's only 3, I'll be like, I think you're missing these 2 things. Or if there's too much, or you know, you're talking like, so yes.
It's really helpful.
So it's probably a lot of how I am, and there can be good and bad in both that. I think as a dad, it's something like day in, day out that I feel like I just like, I'm still trying to, and I will continue to work through that. And to trust he's working in that. And to realize that one of my biggest moments as a dad, for my dad, actually was 1,000 miles away.
And it's a pretty remarkable thing, and it's proven. I mean, it probably becomes that because of years of investment and being present in your life. I think, like, when you're talking about how hard it is to be like with our kid, how to do this all, I just think, you know, we've had this conversation before, but working hard to be present. And I think our attention may actually be the most valuable thing we could ever give to someone. To actually get the attention off of my own thoughts, get it off of a phone, get it off of a previous conversation, off of something else in the room that's distracting, and just like give it fully to my kids. And I think it's pretty cool when we can do that. And I think for your dad to have so many years of attention on you and influence in your life, that's probably why 1,000 miles away, both through prayer as God's working and just through the investment that God's kind of directed him. God's perfect wisdom revealed to him, love your kids, be present with them, influence and direct them. And then that ends up showing up in a moment. That's pretty.
So that's what I think I just worked through is presence is something. I think I told you 2 years ago.
What were they again?
Present, my 3 Ps. Well, it's built on 4 people, but the idea is that you're present, you're patient, and I'm positive.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to do that, but I very hit and miss.
It's still really helpful to have it. I mean, that's the thing, like the goal, even if it's like more value-based or principle-based, like, man, like they just keep aligning us towards it. Like without that, it can be kind of aimless. But when you have that, it might be better some days and worse other days, but just pursuing it itself is going to be helpful. It's like you said, I mean, just keep planning. That's what you keep planning.
I mean, that's my, keepplanning.com. Don't go there. I have an email though, but it's literally that. The farmer plants every year, has no clue if rain's coming or not. Let's just stop there, let alone whatever else could happen.
Mm-hmm.
But every day he wakes up and he plants or works, he plants. And then what is he doing? He's trusting the harvest.
Mm-hmm.
It might be corn. Mm-hmm. In my case, it might be my kids loving Jesus, right? Like, or fill in the blank.
Right.
Keep planting, trust the harvest.
I was thinking another encouraging thought that might be helpful is this is one that Sarah and I've talked about a decent amount in our own parenting, times where maybe we feel like failures and other times maybe like successes, but especially in the times of failure, it's like, you know what, even if we were perfect parents, which by the failure we just had, we know we're not, but even if we were, you see Jesus with his 12 disciples being a perfect mentor leader, and still, they're not all of a sudden perfect as a result. So we're not going to be perfect, but it takes the pressure off, because even if I could achieve that, it doesn't guarantee that they're going to be perfect in the response to that.
Oh, dude, that's so
it just
good.
Like took off some of the like.
That is so good.
And it's like,
I mean, from Judas,
I'm going to work at it. Yeah.
Right?
I'm going to work at it.
To like, then like here he comes back, doubting Thomas.
Yeah.
There?
Yeah.
He's still doubting, kind of, right? Essentially, like, show me.
Wants to know. Yeah.
Right? He's been perfect though. Like, what do we?
I know.
Yeah, dude, that's actually. Yeah, read that. Just a total side note.
No, go.
The disciple with Jesus relationship is some like reading through the New Testament. I just started it again right now. Is just like one of the coolest moments of that. Like what I never really, I guess, put it together like that, right? Like, yeah, you could be the most perfect person, but humans are humans.
Yep.
As much as they want to love and follow Jesus, and yet God uses them, works with them, and understands that. Anyway, that's cool.
It's huge.
Dude, that's awesome.
How has being a dad influenced your view of your Heavenly Father? Like, are there things now that sometimes have almost been unlocked, or I don't know, maybe greater understanding about who he is as a father to you versus just knowing he's the Heavenly Father? But like now that you've been a dad, has that influenced anything about your relationship with God? Any angles on it? Ever moments, something stood out to you about that?
Yeah, what's just triggered my brain right now. First time hearing this question.
Okay.
Our boy, 10th Avenue North.
Yes.
He sings a song. Do you know what song I'm talking about? I saw the look in my daughter's eyes.
Yes.
I don't know how it goes, but it pretty much talks about that I'm in good hands.
Mm-hmm. Good hands. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I think he has another one where you thought about like being a dad, like it shows up and just like, unfortunate this time, maybe unfortunate, I don't know. My dad actually would tell me, my dad was a pastor, and I can't count the amount of hands, and I could be wrong, that I had family divas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
My dad showed up in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm saying don't do that. I'm working through that. Like even last night I was like, we should, we're trying to work through something like that. I mean, 4 kids and they're trying to brush their teeth and all that. And Shell's kind of reading the storybook Bible and it kind of worked. And Lincoln wants to see the picture. Lincoln had heard nothing other than somebody died. And so he just yells out, "Who died?" And it's like, we're talking about Daniel and the lion's den. Well, it wasn't Daniel who died, right?
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is like, with Mike also in the 10th Avenue guy talks about that one time with his dad. about what he's seen, like what Jesus and God's provided with his dad just being available to support his friends and cook for him at midnight and understand if one can eat chicken or one can eat fish. Right? I don't know if you heard that one. Have you heard that one?
I forgot about this.
Right?
But it's interesting because it sounds like a familiar story that you actually told me about your dad one time, but it was, I think, going to someone's house late at night. I feel like I heard those two stories.
Oh, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's, I guess, what it shows me is like,
so cool.
That kind of stuff is actually how I can show my kids too. I need to, I would love to get better at helping them, like, you know, read through the Bible. I hear some of these kids, and my kids are working that, and sometimes there's some guys at church, I'm like, how in the world do you do that? You know, like, but I think also, like, I just really like just day in, day out, like how I serve them and love them.
Oh, it's got to be both.
Care about their friends and
I might even
listen.
Say, I might even say that might. I might. This is not
dude
directly from the Bible. I might say that even may be more important than checking off the devos every single day. I think some people, if they do that, but they don't live it. In other words, maybe that's the way to say it. If we were to do family devos every single day, but not live it, I think that's almost more damage to it. But I think if we're living it, it's actually really helpful to also be spending some type of time meditating on it, talking about it on the way, the classic Deuteronomy 6 type of way of just like, it's just a part of our home. Like we talk about these truths. These are the values we hold because they're God's values. He's taught us them and we're going to live them out like the best of our ability. Keep going back to it. All right, let's jump into Hampton Park then. You're here. You've been here, like we said, for a decade. I mean, that's crazy. And after jumping, 3 cities in 3 years or something like you said, and then now 10 years here in Greenville. So you've kind of mentioned this already in what first brought you here. But now that you've been here for this long, maybe it's fun to ask you a question more along the lines of what do you want Hampton Park to be known for? Like not as in, so Hampton Park's name is great, but more just like, what are the characteristics that to you would be like a healthy church body? These are the things you like to see here. Maybe they are things that you saw here. I know soccer was a part of what kind of connected you initially, but what are also things you want to see? And I feel like, anyway.
I'll first start though coming here. Okay. So we live in Greenville and Shell's doing night nurse. And so I would a lot of times go to different churches. We're living downtown. Okay. And I go to different churches and she'd come as she could because I knew she was working all that. And at that point I had built a relationship with Jordan McLaren. And I remember coming to Greenville. James Whitaker was like, dude, Hampton Park ain't for you. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, dude, I just like, I don't think so. Like, but you know, whatever. There's great people. Like, it's awesome, but I just don't think that's.
Okay.
It's like, all right, so whatever. So I kind of had that like mindset, like my here's my mentor that like God's using my life, but like, okay, whatever. So he tried out all kinds of different churches, you know. But I just kept coming back to Hampton Park because, and I would say one of the big, it was Jordan and Nancy McLaren at the time. We had built this relationship from Charleston. They had stayed in our house and vice versa. We had like done some dinner. They were hosting. And so that relationship brought me back. Yeah. And then the teaching, I started 367 notes deep and then other things. And then I was like, this place is awesome. And I think it was like, yeah. So when I think about that, what was it? It was like people, like relationships. It was Drew and like teaching, like loving God and teaching that. And so if I think about like what Hampton Park is in the next 3, 5, 10, whatever, next 10 years, I think it's like in Matthew 22, the two greatest commands: love God and love our neighbors. Like, do it. Like. If we're not careful, I tell our life groups something like this, like we'll show up every other Wednesday and, you know, we'll essentially do what are family devos and, you know, hopefully we'll support our church and serve, but like there's people out here from Yvette at the Publix Deli to our neighbors, you know, right now at Brownstone Crossing, right? To the soccer league that brings that go to church, don't go to church and everything in between. And it can be so easy to talk about other areas of the country or world and forget that God put us here. And we should still figure out how to support that and love that. I'm not, but I would love Hampton Park to be just like, how do we continue to just love God? And out of that love for God, we can love our neighbors. And what that shows, like I have ideas and I'm doing my own thing. And the beautiful thing is that we have such a huge church of different people created in different ways that love different things, that they all have their own moments. That I will never have that people moment. Never. It might be one person, it might be hundreds, it might be thousands. I will never have that people moment. But if we're all daily loving God and then loving people in those moments, with our starting with like the family and those types to whatever down the street,
Yep.
Let's roll.
I'd like to actually, get you to share maybe some practical ways to actually achieve that. So first, Jordan and Nancy were a big connection for you. And it's funny, you guys must have gotten so connected so quickly that I assumed you guys knew each other for years, I think, when I first saw you.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, that's not true. Like I'm hearing now, it's like, no, I actually got to know each other
6
just
months.
right then, which also makes sense that you wouldn't have known each other before based on your story. But in my mind, it's like, oh yeah, they probably know each other, whatever. What helped make that connection to where they interact with you, then they end up at your house, you end up at their house. Like I'm even thinking super practical. Like if we have someone visiting that's planning to move here in 2 months, or they're considering moving to Greenville, like this happens. I'll meet people like that sometimes at Hampton Park. What are the things that they did? What are ways that make those people feel loved? Are there any I don't know if you can remember anything that maybe
We were
helped,
both friendly. We met at
Okay.
Drew Custer's wedding, I believe.
Okay.
Okay. He was Jordan was his best man, and I was there and met there.
Yep.
And we kind of we traded numbers. I think like a simple thing is like,
Yep.
I find whether in business or personal things, if I get someone's phone number, people are on their phone all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times if I want to, don't take this wrongly if I haven't asked for your phone number, but like if I know
Yeah.
in that moment, like, hey man, like what's your number?
Yep.
I'll send him a quick text.
Yeah.
And it might not be anything other than that.
Yep.
Or it might be when I pray for him or
Yeah.
want to do something with him or whatever. So I think like that, I think that's a simple thing is like
Yep.
when you meet somebody and you hear that they might have a need of maybe being new to the church or whatever, you can start it by like, hey, let me get your number and then I'll try to text you and we'll find a time to. So I think we
Yep.
started texting, and then we were both young and not kids and trying to like be friends. And
Yeah.
like I think it's just like we started finding things that we liked and talked about. And once you know when you talked about with people, you find things. Tim Keller once said like in one of his books, his wife was like, why are we hanging out with this? I mean, let's be real. Like, don't quote me on it, but it's like this family, like we would never hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
Tim had come to love them because he built a relationship with them.
It's cool.
Not that.
Yep.
So like that. And then we just
Simple.
like started, like we would go out to dinner and
Yep.
they needed, hey, we're coming to Charleston. Sweet. Come to Charleston. We'll go to your Greenville because we got to do something there. You stay at our house. We'll flip houses. Like, and it just kind of turned into that. But I think like nowadays too, like that's what it looks like.
Yep. Yeah.
And different, for me, it's like, I think I'm not trying to say this, like take us out of it again, but I think this idea, but now I've realized like, no, like that's how God's created us and I think gifted us and we are called then to steward it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this idea of like being proactive with people and loving them, like in like very hospitable ways, it's like one of those gifts. Not in a, and so like it looked like look back in CIU days of chicken fingers, right? For the college kids. That's what it looked like. Or watching Coach Whitaker's kids thing on date night. And now it looks different. Like right now we're Brownstone, it's my wife going to the neighborhood park.
Yep.
And just like Shell over the last year and a half has like honestly gone a whole new level of like neighborhood park and getting numbers and having women over for a night. Like when I would do on soccer on Tuesday nights, she a lot of times will have these 4 moms over.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because she's like, I don't really want to be home like by myself.
Yeah.
Like why don't I just have them over?
Yeah.
Like that. So she met them at the park,
Yep.
got their numbers,
Yep.
found moments to connect with them. Like, hey, Jeff's out on Tuesday night soccer playing with Cody and other guys. I don't want to be by myself.
Yep.
A lot of moms can't come over,
Right.
but these can.
Yep.
Boom. Now she does that. So now she was supposed to have it this past weekend, didn't have it. Now she has her whole neighborhood. She'll invite all of them in her neighborhood. It's called, and she's done it at Hampton Park with the Hampton Park ladies, but she'll now do it like the where they come over and just have tea and coffee and desserts, and
Yep.
people want to hang out.
Yep.
It's not that like we'll have them over for dinner. So like we're at the park. Yo, what are you doing for dinner tonight? Kind of think about our chicken finger scenario at the CIU. You need it. I don't know if we have enough food. Yo, just come over for dinner. The people don't do that.
Yeah.
Usually, I'm not. One neighbor, they were like, Jeff, we've never had someone invite us over. They're a young couple for dinner.
Wow.
That means they never probably had their friends even do it.
Yeah.
Like, what an easy thing. And so then, yeah, that's like stuff we do. And then like things like at the church, I think when you think about like loving our neighbors, it shows itself too. Like that soccer league, the more we as a church can support people too with like things that they can invite, that is not like, let's take it what it is. Showing up on Sunday church is hard and uncomfortable. And sure, I'm not saying we shouldn't invite people to that, but sometimes like inviting to a soccer league is like a softball. You should be doing it.
Yeah.
But in order to even get to that ask, and as easy as it is, you still have to have the relationship with them.
Yeah.
And it starts at the park.
Yep. Yep.
Or it starts at the meat counter at the Publix. And when you start to know people, like their name, and what they like.
Mm-hmm.
We found out one played high school soccer, right? You don't get that in the first conversation.
Yeah.
You start to find moments to say like connect with them and serve them and love them and help them and show them and tell them Jesus, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Dude, how about this? Take it one step further for really practical, because you got there, which is super helpful. What is like, I know it sounds so silly, but I'm honestly like, what are some really simple ways you guys have found to host people that are successful and work well? Like what are like even the times? I mean, you're saying the evenings, so it sounds like dinner's a lot of times one of the best times, but then even like what type of food? I know it sounds simple, but like what's like sometimes like the easiest way? Because I think sometimes, honestly, people are afraid to have people over because it's like, man, I got a lot going on. I'm busy. I'm doing all this. Is there just like an easy, this is worth it. This is worth it to be a part of our lives, that we even maybe have to say no to some other things. We're going to make sure in our budget and in our time, we have nights that we can give to other people. Mm-hmm. And here's a simple way we can pull this off that's not adding tons of stress, and it's putting something really important back in. I don't know. Is there anything like that that's like a...
So we actually have a budget line item called PLP. It stands for Proactively Loving People.
I love it.
And so that gives us that's outside of just like a normal giving moments and all that. And it just like literally gives us space.
That's awesome.
When need arises and the Holy Spirit works, which I really believe the gift of giving is actually a gift, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Like, again, take me out of it. I don't want to like be about me, but like this idea, like to be in tune with what God's doing in your life and the Holy Spirit working, to have that prod and then to act on giving is a gift.
Yep.
Right? If you've gotten that point and you aren't doing that, like got to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
So, but PLP is we have it in our budget.
That's awesome.
And that can be used for anything to proactively love people.
Yep.
And so then what does that look like? Sometimes it looks like hearing of a need and buying something.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it looks like hearing of last night we had one of our friends' daughters celebrating her birthday.
No.
So because I think, I came down from work and she was like, hey, it's so-and-so's birthday. We're going to let's go do something for her. Like, so we went to just something real simple.
Yep.
A Paw Patrol balloon. We went to Publix because we just had to go one spot at, it was 6:45. Bedtime at 7:45. Threw all the kids in the car.
Yep.
Had to go get eggs too. So we're at Publix. We got a Paw Patrol balloon, a card that pops up and makes noise.
Oh, nice.
A car that she liked, and some little growing beads, and a Mr. Beast chocolate bar.
Oh.
And we just drove up in the driveway and dropped it off.
Oh, it's fun.
And so that's budgeted. But that's also just like, I think like that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Again, I don't love this idea like us, but like,
no,
like that's on Shell's heart because of the Holy Spirit working.
Yep.
And it shows that. Now, as far as meals, 2 nights ago, Monday night, or I don't even know what today's Thursday. So Tuesday night, Monday, I'm like, dude, we lean towards wanting to hang out with people too. So I think that's just natural in that. Yep. So I think honestly, it was probably somewhat selfish. Like, I just want to hang out with some people.
Sure.
Everyone's frozen in. Let's have our neighbors.
But people shouldn't excuse it to not ever do it. But maybe they won't do it as much. Anyways, yes.
Yeah, you and your
so
and a big thing. I met with someone the other day at Hampton Park about a few weeks ago, and he asked that because I think the spouse are different. Mm-hmm. So understanding like, and I was like, what does your wife like to do? Oh, she likes to bake or something. I was like, I think that, and I was like, yo, you want to know how one way Rochelle started building a relationship with our neighborhood? Rochelle makes killer cookies. Well, she started whenever she would make them, she'd just go leave them on Vince and Laura's door, Leo and Mary's door, and just send them a quick text.
Yeah.
Now, and then that's turned into Shell walks with all these older women in our neighborhood.
That's awesome.
Not even older, just women in general.
Yeah.
So I think like understand that as like that question was like, what does your spouse like?
Yep.
And and like finding ways for her to leverage that in the neighborhood. People, I think too, like we forget, like again, much like missions, we can think like various far out and we can forget Greenville. I think same thing like with our like relationships. We can think like, I need to go, on the corner of downtown Greenville, which I'm not saying that's wrong and that's beautiful. You can do that. There's some good things in that. I'm just saying like, but we forget like open up your door
right there,
and look to the left or the right. That's where you're placed. Like I've had walks at night where I'm like, God, Brownstone Crossing right now is my mission field. If the Canes can do it in Cambodia with, and forgive me, but they can do that in Cambodia with a leaking roof, which squad here, we got to figure that thing out. We can do it at Brownstone Crossing, and I'm actually called to do it, and I don't need to overcomplicate this. So I think finding the people is not that hard, and then finding ways to do it. Like we budget for it, and we get their numbers, we text them, and then like Monday night we were like, dude, let's have people over. Text those 3 people, and let's say they want to come over burgers. Wouldn't you know it? 2 out of the 3 families showed up.
No, that's awesome.
And we had burgers, hot dogs, and a lot of times they want to bring stuff too. They're like, can we bring something? You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't anything on the table. But also sometimes like we did one time. I remember one time we did chicken thighs, like barbecue chicken thighs for a couple. And like the next day, she was like, "We should not have done chicken. We should have done steak for them." And like we realized maybe we shouldn't, but we texted them. We're like, "Dude, we should have done something more for you." Like, to be honest with you, we just threw that on the grill real fast.
Yeah.
Can you guys come over for steak next week?
Oh, that's cool.
But like, I don't know. The practical thing is like people are everywhere.
Yeah.
In your neighborhood, look left to right and start figuring out ways that you can just care for them.
Yeah, I remember one missionary long ago at a missions conference at Hampton Park mentioned his strategy. Like I think he was supposed to give a talk about his strategy for missions.
Yeah.
And he comes in and it's like, I got 2 points. And he spent like a long time talking about it. It was just 2 points. It's meet people and tell them about Jesus. Like he just said to him, he's like, that's it. That's it. That's a strategy. He's like, where you go to get your haircut, where you go to eat food, where you go to Publix to get just meet the people and then tell them about Jesus as you build that relationship.
We so often forget that.
It's that simple.
We forgot the relational meet part.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, and I would love to hear stories of people that have met someone for the first time and they came to know Jesus. You told them about Jesus and they came to know Jesus. You got to the point where you were confident enough to even say, like, let's be real. Like, I'm unfortunately not as bold as I need to be.
Yeah.
But
I feel that.
But over time, relationally, that's a lot of times. It starts with just meeting people. We overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
So that's Hampton Park this year. Like, let's meet more people.
Yep.
Let's build relationships. Look out your door.
And
they're there. Remember, if you can't know their name, if you can't name your neighbors,
Right.
like that's a problem.
Yep.
Starting there.
Yep.
That's not a problem. It's an opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
You're called to.
And I'm even thinking, like you said, it's like we overcomplicate it. And I also think we become victims of like the tyranny of the urgent or the immediate, whatever's in front of us. But sometimes it's not even important. It's like whether it's a show or a movie or a whatever. And I think honestly, what's cool is we can make it super simple again, meet people, tell them about Jesus. But like we have to be intentional about it. Like you said, like the proactive love people, even your line in your budget. And I think you guys building in a budget line creates capacity for it. And I'm thinking we have to do the same with our time. Because I do think in our modern society, we are so busy running kids to and from, doing this and that, being a part of this and that. It's like, it's so full of stuff. We don't even have a night where we feel like we can have people over. And people are in different stages of life. I'm not trying to guilt someone into it, but I do think trying to find a way to simplify it a bit and build in the capacity for it. Like create an open evening that you can do it, some type of rhythm in your life of having people over. That would also really help. At least I'm thinking for us, like, that's a way to help us do it. And
anyway, I think you have a lot more school stuff, like right for us, like we can kind of ebb and flow and it just works for who we are. But yeah, I could see a lot of people just like, hey, this night does it. Or also like, don't underestimate. I think like whether your address or your stage of life, and maybe you are flying around all the time, there's still moments there.
Yep, there are.
And it still might be like, hey, I can't do it tomorrow, like drop of the hat, but I can get your number, think about you, talk about you, remember you, and tell you in 2 weeks.
Yep.
Like today, I literally had a calendar reminder this morning.
Okay.
What did it say? It's a family, but I sent this like last week. Find time with blank, the family, Sunday lunch.
Nice.
And that was from a text message a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, oh, on Sundays we do it. Right? No. Like I just like I know that Sunday lunch will work for them.
Yeah.
I know if I give this, I put it on the calendar with Rochelle because Rochelle's very good at like kind of being my operations manager in that moment. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Communication director. And it was like find time with blank. So that's another thing too.
It's huge. Makes sense. It's great. I mean, these are super practical and super helpful. Actually, this kind of connects to it, but in a slightly different way. Talking about connection with people, I think adult friendships can be really hard. I think it's almost surprising how hard it can be. But I think outside looking in here, I don't know for sure. Seems like you've been able to maintain some friendships into adulthood. You've created new ones in adulthood. You've even created these, friendships, honestly, is what they are with the people you've met to be able to tell them about the person you follow, who you love. And what does that look like? Not only in your life, but what would you even maybe give advice towards others of like ways just to connect and somehow keep community and friendship even as adults rather than getting into this cycle of work, get home tired, spend a little time with the family, but then just like tune in and watching the show or the game and never actually building those bonds anymore. Like the friendship we had in our teens and high school, it's like a lot of adults lose that, especially men, I think. They lose it. So any tips or ways you've found success to be connected to friends, to people, doesn't have to be your age even, but still.
If you want to be a friend, if you want friends, you got to be a friend. So being a friend is action based.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And again, I think you'll hear it. What's a friend? It's a relationship. And what's a relationship? You know them. The relationship with your Heavenly Father.
Mm-hmm.
You care for them. You love them. And wouldn't you know, you find moments to connect with them.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it looks like all kinds of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's certain guys that I have tub talks with.
I forgot about those. Yes.
So like in the winter months, right now we're all like, we got to get. I'm gonna text them after this and be like, dude, guys, we got to get back. It's been hard. We're at like this weird kid season, but tub talks.
Yep.
4 dudes, 4 men in a hot tub.
Yep. I love it.
After the kids would go to bed.
Yep.
And nothing's on no agenda. We can talk about anything.
It's awesome.
So there's that's kind of a, like, to the point where I was like, dude, guys, let's make a podcast called Tub Talks and let's get some, like, that'd be hilarious. Get like all kind of people. But that's that. What's it look like in other ways though? If you don't have a hot tub and you're not willing to get in a hot tub with guys, I mean, like, it's like text. Like I use text. Like I enjoy sports. My wife and I love watching football. It's amazing. But that doesn't mean, like, I can still have a relationship with somebody when I watch the 49ers. Okay? Because I can know that my one friend likes them. So maybe I'm just like, dude, go 49ers. Simple as that.
Yep.
And that kicks off a bunch of other things, right? Or it could be, I know the trainer for Christian McCaffrey. So maybe it's like, yo, dude, what's up? How's your son that I've been praying for? You know? So I think, like, in those stages of life, in those seasons, you can still, at 8:30 at night, I can still watch and still think of people. And when I think about them, text them, let them, and pray for them or whatever it might be. I think we can kind of like, but other things we do, yeah. I mean, I do like men's soccer leagues, and I go out to coffee and breakfast and lunch with people. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
I have like, I don't know if this is like, I drink coffee every morning, and people have given me mugs over the years, and I started like praying. Like I remember, like, who gave me this mug? And I pray for him. Like, so for example, this yesterday, now my kid, I got an espresso machine, so now my kids like cappuccinos because, like, I can make them kind of sweet and like really milky, and they like it. And so, like, I made one yesterday for my 4-year-old Lincoln decaf, and he was drinking. I gave him a Chiefs championship mug. Well, that mug was given by she was a Becky Custer, Sarah Bates' mom. So in that moment, I said, Link, we're going to pray for Mrs. Custer.
That's awesome.
And then what do you know? Rochelle had women over actually yesterday morning, her Bible study group for breakfast.
Okay.
And Sarah was there.
Yeah.
And we were talking. And they say, oh, yeah, my parents are going to Peru. So then, like, I could have stopped it there. And I'm like, again, take me out of this. I don't feel like,
no, yeah.
I'm just trying. So then today, I went to bed last night. I was like, oh, man, I should have texted Becky. I said, God, if it's important tomorrow, help me remember to text her. And once you know, I was triggered this morning. I need to text Becky and Clay. So I did. I said, hey, guys, hope you're having a great, they're going to visit missionaries in Peru. I hope it's awesome. Praying for you.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because I drank out of that mug that you gave me when the Chiefs won their Super Bowl 5 years ago or whatever.
I'm going to give you some mugs.
Dude,
I want you to be praying for me more often. No,
so now it's like this thing, like, I got
awesome.
mugs. And so today, yeah. So, like, there's just, like, I think there's just moments that day in, day out, you can send a text.
Yeah.
Now, to what extent you hang out with people and all that, I think that's very important. I think the church has a role in that, you know, in helping that, and like men, stuff like that. And we do that with sports and the men's ministry now and some other things. But again, I just think that if you can find ways to communicate to people, wouldn't you, and just remember them, and you make that a priority in from your finances to just your spiritual walk and praying. God was proactive with us from the get-go, sending us his son, the ultimate budget line item. Okay. That's PLP to the max. Come on, we can remember people's names. We can text them. We can find ways to do it. We can give to them. We can do fun things too, like sitting in a hot tub.
Yeah, totally. Let's take a moment to even recognize people who've been proactive in your life or that have been encouragement even from afar that you've seen, whichever it may be. at Hampton Park. Is there anyone that, you've obviously already mentioned Drew and his teaching, but yeah, him and others. Are there people that you feel like it'd be fun just to encourage them by saying, these are
Ted
people
Austin.
that God's used in my life?
I showed up at a life group with Jordan and Nancy McLaren, which is another thing. If you want to get relationships and all that, you can't even like join a life group. I think that's a great first step. Like a lot of times people will ask, like, I want relationship in the church, and then they're like walking out. And then if you say like, hey, you done life? Well, you want to schedule.
Yep.
It's a day of the week. You can pick any day of the week. You want to figure out a time slot you want. You can figure that out too. You want to find out people you somewhat know and have common things with. So that's a side note. But yeah, Ted Olson was in my life group. And I went up to him and started learning about him and all that. Ted has shown me that we were created for relationships, and relationships are highs and lows and drifting and straight and all kinds of things and people, and we have a purpose in that. And so I remember years ago I said, hey Ted, I'd like to start meeting with you if you're cool with that. And it started like, let's read a book or Bible and all that. And that was good. And as it morphed, it's now just me and him on Wednesday mornings at Starbucks right here after Hampton Park. I drop the kids off and there's no agenda. But when did you know it? We have a relationship and we end up finding ways to encourage each other, pray for each other, all that. And I cherish that. So
I love hearing that.
Yeah. Teddy Alston.
I just side note with that. I think something I have seen as a theme recently with a few people I've interacted with is finding that just meeting consistently with guys, whether it's Tub Talks or Ted Austin at Starbucks. I've got a couple of these moments in my own life. If you find a consistent time to meet with people, even without a crazy agenda, just the time to meet, share life together, and then pray for each other. Like, it doesn't have to be
It
more
all happens a lot of times naturally.
It
You
does.
don't even have to feel
you build that rhythm.
And it might happen until like meeting 5.
Yep.
But it happens.
Yep.
I mean, right now, like one of the
good.
things we've been recently doing, like I would say every 6-ish weeks, Brandon and Lisa Esco. In our life group, softball, whatever. But we found out that they liked rock climbing. So we started going to this Project Rock in Easley, which is the coolest place. Indoor rock climbing. It's the largest indoor wall in North America. And all the walls have like there's like Yosemite, or there's literally an arch, like arches. It's awesome. So we'll do that.
That's sweet.
And we'll go out and like, date night, let's go rock climb. And then after we go get pizza, and it's the best pizza because you just like rock climb for like 2-3 hours and you're like, I'm eating whatever I want. And in those times, like I end up being like all the good things of that, but like encouraged spiritually too. And so there's all kinds of different ways, but I think just Ted, I would just say Ted's been a huge, like I actually had when I tell my story a lot of times when it comes to people being proactive with God and ultimately proactive with me, it's my dad, Coach Whittaker Rochelle, and then Ted got added there because he showed me a lot of what that's looked like.
You know what's funny is I just told Ted this week, or maybe last week, I was interacting with him about how I still remember clear as day one of his chapel message, at least the titles of his title of his chapel message from high school. And you want to know what it was?
What?
It's a relationship, stupid.
Oh, let's roll, Ted.
So the fact that you're still like finding him influencing you about that thing is so epic. I just, because I was telling him I was
jazz
encouraged.
Me up, Ted.
Still. Yep.
And you know what too? It's simple. It's a relationship, and you know what? He kind of calls you out.
He does. And that's
what I appreciate. I remember one of the times he was like Ted in the church one time. It was one of the he forgot he was supposed to pray. Order service.
Yes, I was sitting close to him.
Dude, he forgot he's supposed to pray. Epic. So like no one's up there. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, because I appreciate organized people like that. And I wish I was more like in that created that way. So this is nothing sliding. Like there's a beauty in that.
Yep.
But like in this one moment, I was like, dude, there's some people that are organized right now. They're like, what in the world? And then there's Ted up in the upper like balcony. He's like, I'm going to pray for him here. And it was just like, Shell to this day, like, dude, I had chills on my spine. Like, that was cool. But yeah, Ted's my dog.
Yeah.
So man, I'll ride with him. And they just came back from Mongolia, which if you were at the men's chili thing, crazy story, 29-hour flight with Tim Chevalier. I mean, Tim with Parkinson's, like what? Insane, but how they just speak to like, just like, it was awesome. It was awesome.
So
anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, so there's many people at Hampton Park, so please don't take that anything personal.
No.
But Ted, every Wednesday I meet with Ted.
It's awesome. All right, then how about a couple of the lessons you feel like God maybe is teaching you right now? This season of life, I mean, 2 years ago, it was the patience, presence, and
Yeah.
what was it? Proactive with people was the third one? Or
What? Oh, yeah. I saw patient, present, positive with people.
patient, present, positive. I'm just going to add proactive.
Yeah.
Since
There you go. That's all this take action. Right?
Yeah.
So,
But and if that's still the theme, praise God for that, because that's a great.
I'm still
set of-
working through that one always. I think that's going to always be something with me. And I think over the last 10 months at PLP, proactively loving people, based on Matthew 22, love God, love neighbors. Neighbors, in my opinion, is not just our neighbors in Brownstone Crossing. It's people at church, just neighbors,
Yep.
Publix lady, et cetera. I think that's a big thing for me in our family. So I think that's just a big one and will continue to be a big one for us. And then I think I think we all have our things our worry about. I can get like a really worst case scenario worry a lot of little things. And God's just showing that he's just reminding me that his plan for my life is greater than I can ask or think. And the fact of my story hopefully shows a little bit of that, like from where I could have been to where I am now, and I still got plenty more to go, that he's provided. He's provided the end game. I know how this ends.
That's huge.
I say it's easy to say right now, and I haven't had hard stuff like I know so many people have, and that I see them and it's like, wow, but he's provided how, what do they like, winners act like winners and like not prideful ones. Like that makes it like, I don't know. I think sometimes like when you hear people like, I'm a big football guy, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, a lot of times like when you heard these guys, like they kind of knew how the season was going to end. Like we're week 8, we just lost this game. And a lot of times like they're not like, or they're not lazy either. They're like, we know how this is going to end. And for Patrick Mahomes, for the first 7 years of his career, it was AFC Championship or not, and money Super Bowls. Like it was like, and that's kind of me like in our walk. Like I know how this ends, right?
It's huge.
I have Jesus, so that's how it ends. So today, whether I'm drifting or not, whether I'm not, whether I'm on fire, or, like I keep working towards that, and understanding that here I am at 36, and you've hopefully heard some of my stories from younger, older, that like he had it then, and I barely dude, I'm a broken pot. The potter's working the clay, and thank God. And so but what's cool is like this year, like we're working on, there's like some new things happening, and we're working through some things, and it's kind of like exciting stuff, like really good gifts. And I'm like, well, that's super cool. Like, wow, God. And like, I'm still like, wow, how's this going to work? How am I going to be a better dad and husband and Jesus follower through this? How am I going to support the church and community better through X, Y, Z? And it hit me like 5 days ago, I was washing dishes at night, and I was like, Jeff, it was almost like, again, like, dude, I got a plan, bro. Trust me. And just keep, because God, I want to make sure I'm stewarding my life, my things for you. No, I think you are. Just trust it. And I got a plan more you can ask or think. And I'm going to use you for more you can ask or think. Just be open to it. I think that's something I'm going to be learning. I'm always learning, but it's really hit me as recent as 5 days ago. And so yeah, PLP and the idea that I'm the clay, he's the potter, and he's got it.
How about, I think this is a fun thing to kind of hear from different people. I've heard different answers over the years, and I think it'd be fun to kind of capture that. What are moments in life that you've found you feel closest to God? Like those kind of mountaintop moments where you just really sense his presence in a powerful way. And I know for some people that is like their time of reading, whether it's daily reading, maybe they get alone in a room that's quiet. For others, I've heard about, for them, it's being able to be outside looking at the stars at night, or going on a nature walk, or being able to listen to some music. Anyway, I don't know. Or maybe it's actually during worship time in a corporate body, that's the time that they feel closest. So I don't know, it's just kind of fun to know what's maybe one of the times you find in your life that's a moment you really enjoy. You do really feel close to God. Like you just send
after my kids checking on that 2-minute time frame.
That's the moment.
That's one of them. That's a simple little moment where there's times where I will raise my hands. There's times where I'll drop on my knees. And I'm working like that's, man, it's because I'm like, thank you, God, or I could have been, whatever. Oh, sure. There's been times throughout my life where looking in the mirror in that moment, I made a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It was clear. It was very clear.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do this. Not just don't do it. I got something better for you.
Mm.
But yeah, there's just all kinds. I think it's just like, and then I think we can miss that. Sometimes I've heard people say like, I don't see God working, and well, just like maybe you wouldn't know much about a person if you didn't have a relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, if you have being proactive with practically loving people starts with practically loving Him.
Yep.
And a relationship allows me to see Him more throughout a lot. I wouldn't say like these big aha moments. Like, sure, there are some, I should say, but like, there's not like every day I do this, I should see Him more. Like, this whole life's about Him.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone's top of mind, you remember them, you see them, and so hopefully I keep them top of mind.
Yep.
I read my Bible at night usually. Going through the Bible in a year type of idea. I keep it. I wish there was a way, a Bible that like I have my phone that keeps track of it, but I don't like looking at my phone because it's, for all various reasons.
Yep.
So I end up using, there'll be times I'll be like, man, like last night, like my phone's upstairs
and
my Bible's down here, but I'm not sure where in Matthew I'm supposed to be reading it. Like I guess that's what the marker's for, but like this plan like switches, like you'll read a chapter in Matthew, a chapter in Luke. Okay. So obviously that's the marker does that.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just a total side now.
Yeah.
I read my Bible at night.
No, at first I was thinking like definitely someone listening to this is thinking it's called a bookmark, but now it makes sense.
No, because like
it
it tells me like different chapters.
Correct. That makes more sense now. No. I get it now. At first I'm sitting here like,
I will have stupid questions like that would be a simple answer. So I'm not. That's very please. But no, it's like anyway. But I read my Bible at night usually after, and yeah. All right, here's one thing, dude. What's something right now you're working through as a dad?
Oh man, well. I mean, the thing that's probably most on top of my mind, though, there's a couple things that come to mind, is soaking it in. And I think that was already a theme, but honestly, just recently, really just trying to, like I talked about the word attention already came up, like give them my attention. Like even this podcast, for example, it was easy for my mind to drift to this because a project on my mind, and once something's on my mind, it's like, my mind keeps drifting to those thoughts. That's where I get distracted, is in my head rather than what's around me. And so it's just like, continually recently refocusing on like, I want to give my attention to Conrad as he's telling me this story about what just happened when he shot that basketball at the Fisher-Price hoop. Like I'm drifting. My thoughts are, I want to get back to like, dude, no way. It bounced that many times on the rim and fell off. That's crazy, dude. Like, all right, we'll go try again. Let me watch. Like, bring it back, give attention there. That's the greatest gift I could give my kids. Same for Colette. She's showing me a drawing she just made, or she's telling me about this idea she has. And just, in those moments, like make sure I'm not distracted by the thoughts of my mind. I mean, I might be physically present, which is half the battle. You got to be there, but now I got to actually make sure my whole self's there. And so that's one recently I think been a big thing.
I can like feel it in my brain when it's not almost.
Yes.
Physically, I'm always there. I think.
Yep.
It's this.
Yep. It is.
That's cool.
And so that's probably the biggest one. And
it's again, kind of simple, like when you think about it.
It is,
but it's hard yet because we've just technology, whatever. Right. Like we can fill with all kinds of things.
Yep. And I like, actually, I like
good things. Like that, as pastors' kids, there was times where honestly, you've seen my praise about my dad, but sometimes my dad just needed to be dad and not pastor. But yet he was like serving the Lord, ministry. So just so it can kind of.
No, one of the things you said earlier is like a little hook or a little thought flow that happens to me. You said when texting Becky, you mentioned, all right, God, if this is important and I should reach out, like help me remember this tomorrow. I have to do that with the ideas I have for this podcast or something else. Like I've got my mind's drifting there. Dude, it's going, and I'm like, God, all right, God, like if that's important, I think it's a good idea, but if that's important, help me bring it back. Because right now I need to actually do what you've called me to do and be a dad. Or be a husband. Do that? I try. I'm not perfect. I don't do it all the time here, but sometimes I want to go write it down, or I want to go, and it's like, if it's important, if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget.
That's what we think, right?
Yeah.
But when do we know that the Holy Spirit will work how He wants to work?
Exactly.
Dude, I've been trying to, that's another thing. Last night, I literally prayed for 2 people. And I was like, God, I could text them right now when I need to go to bed and they're probably asleep and whatever. Or I can just say, listen, I prayed for them right now. And if I can be an encouragement tomorrow with a text, help me remember. And what did you know? You remembered. Now, even on a podcast, right? Yeah. Like, that's here. Like, dude, that's a cool thing too. Just like giving those things to Him.
Yes. And then, I mean, we've touched on this as dads. I mean, anyway, I don't need to ramble about that. The words I used, like soaking it in, is just like this idea
Dad
of
life. Got it.
just like,
Soaking it in.
yeah, just really take in. So Ecclesiastes says it this way. At one point, it's given this idea of all's vanity. Really, the better word's like it's a vapor. Is really a better word because it's empty, but it's in the sense that it's there for a moment and then gone. It's fleeting. You can't even hardly grasp it. So one of the things that book teaches us, again, another wisdom book, is the idea of when something's good, savor it, grab it. So like I'm saying with parenting, that's another one right now. Is like give them my attention and like savor that smile, savor that moment where Caleb's being like crazy and wild right now as a 18-month-old, and it is so funny. And instead of letting my mind drift to all these other things, it's just like right now, I'm not supposed to worry about those emails, that phone call, that right now I'm dad and I want to savor that beautiful moment of my son and enjoy it with my wife. So it's like, while it's here, it's so good. Things are so good in that moment, like grabbing them and savoring them versus missing them. And then one day wishing I could have them back. So
yeah, that's good.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think in savoring people moments, whether you're a dad or wherever, people moments, savoring them and enjoying for where they are is a cool thing. Yeah.
Well, let's wrap this up. I got 2 questions that I want to try to end every podcast with.
Okay, cool.
Every podcast episode with.
We'll see if I have answers.
And I'm curious first, like we've gotten to talk about your story, God's grace in your life that's shown up over many years. Yeah. And I'm wondering, how would either you sum up the theme of your story or what's a main encouragement you'd want to offer to our body as they walk away from hearing this journey that he's had you on?
God has proactively and relationally loved and provided for me. God has shown me that his love is practical in a lot of ways through people. Mm-hmm. It's in very ways very simple for me, and yet awesome, like just like amazing, otherworldly, like amazing.
Awesome.
First time
that's awesome.
That I'm not like that I am the clay. And right now, like, and he's the potter. And that means he's spinning the wheel differently and adding some water now and shaping it. And I don't know I actually do know what the end looks like. But what does that look like as far as, I don't know. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. And luckily, I've seen him work and I see that and I just got to trust that. And just keep trusting that.
Yep.
And keep growing in that relationship with him because that's the only way I found I can be good at trusting it. And God's given me moments every day. We talked about being a dad, and I guess maybe a lot of dads will listen, but whatever. But like, begin me as a professional and a community member and all these things for me to just trust that he's working, and to savor it and to enjoy it and have moments where I cry through it and drop to my knees and hand raise to enjoy it. And let's keep planting, trust the harvest, baby.
And then the second question is advice that you would give to our body at Hampton Park, or maybe a word of encouragement, something that based on the life that God has so far given you and directed and overseen, and things that he's been teaching you and working on in your life. Like, what are some final words of, again, encouragement or advice to our body?
Listen, one of my mentors said it. It's relationships, stupid.
I love it.
No, I mean like relationship with him.
Yep.
So we can have a relationship with them and trust that whole process.
Awesome.
And daily plan into that process. And making sure you daily plan with a relationship with him, because that'll help with all the other stuff. And so for me right now, it's Bible in a year. 1 year was I'm just going to read 3 chapters, starting 3 chapters a day. You know, I'm going to find I feel like I'm praying a lot. You know, just like it's a relationship. Stupid. Now I went out there.
Praise God.
I'll start there. There you go.
Dude, thanks for doing this.
Hey, man, it's awesome. Hopefully I've been an encouragement to you, and you've been encouraging me, brother. I appreciate you.
Same.
Let's go.
Let's go.